In addition to using footnotes and endnotes to credit your sources in a paper or manuscript, you might also use in-text citations and a works cited page or bibliography to identify the sources of your quotations, ideas, or any borrowed or summarized material that you're using. But you certainly need to give credit to those individuals rather than stealing or plagiarizing those ideas and words from someone else. So in Project 6, we're going to take a look at how we can add this additional information and insert those citations as well as a bibliography and a works cited page to our document. And then once we get that set up, we'll also go through and modify and customize some of our citation styles. And they give us a little additional information about some of the styles that Word offers on page 194. And there are three main editorial styles that they describe. The first one is the APA style, which is the American Psychological Association style. That's typically used for those papers that are used in social sciences and research fields. And then the MLA style, which is the Modern Language Association, is used in humanities and English comp courses, which you've probably used that if you've had English comp. And then the last one, Chicago Style, Manual of Style, which is CMS, and it's used in both humanities and social sciences and is a little bit more complex than either of the previous two that we've discussed. So with that, they give a little bit more information about the APA and MLA style as far as what the margins should be, the typeface, the size, where the page numbers should appear, all those pieces of information at the bottom of page 194 and at the top of page 195. So please take some time just to read through those paragraphs. That's not only helpful for this class, but you'll probably use that same information in other classes as well, such as English Comp, business communications if you have to take that class. So just be aware of those styles and be prepared to use those in some of your classes. We're going to begin with Project 6A by first of all formatting the first page of a research paper, and we're going to make the assumption that this research paper, I guess, deals with mobile security. So they're going to have us open up a document called Mobile Security, and then we're going to format the first page of it by, first of all, we need to select it and modify just some simple formats here, and then we'll add some information to the top of it. So I'm going to press Control A to select all of it. We're going to change the font to Cambria, and the size is going to be set to 12 point. Line spacing is going to be set to 2. And then still with it highlighted, we're going to remove some of the spacing after the paragraph so that we don't get these extra spaces here. Under the Page Layout tab, we're going to remove the 10 point down to 0. Then we're going to go to the very top of the document. We'll add some additional information. They want us to put in first and last name. Should just be your first and last name. And then instructor name typically goes next. Course title, whatever that might be, and then the current date would appear at the top. And then we'd also put in a title that would be centered. And for this particular one, we're going to put in mobility security, sorry. No, it is mobile, sorry. Okay, so got some additional information at the top. They also want us to insert a header at the top that has student last name along with a page number. So to get to the headers, we're going to go back to the Insert tab, and in the header and footer group, we're going to grab header, and then from that drop down list, we're going to choose Edit Header, maybe, if it comes up. So click on Edit Header. That will take you into the header dialog box, or the task pane, or the header pane, I guess as you say. We're going to tab twice to get to the right hand side, and you would type in your last name and space, and then they also want us to insert a page number. So we're going to go to the page number option. We'll choose current position, and they just want plain number. So that inserts page numbering in the upper right hand corner. And as I mentioned previously, just because we changed the body of the report to Cambria, that's not reflected in the font of what's going on in the header. So we still need to select that header, change the the font to Cambria. So now that text matches what's going on in the rest of your document. And then, as you know, to get out of the header area, we'll just double click back into the document. You can see now that that's been set up as a header with our last name, and then the page numbering's built in. In Project 6B, we're going to take a look at actually creating the in-text citation, and we're going to do this by creating a couple of paragraphs at the end of this document. I'm going to press Control-N to get to the end, and then on page 198 I'm going to type in the first paragraph that begins laptops have a cable device. I'll go ahead and pause this so that you don't have to watch me, but I'm going to stop at the end of that paragraph, and then we can insert the citation that's necessary. Okay, so after typing in the paragraph, we're to the point where we want to give credit to this source, and so to provide an in-text citation, we're going to go back up to the Reference tab, and in the Citations and Bibliography area, we're going to make sure, first of all, that the style is set at MLA 6th, which it is, but if for some reason it wasn't selected as such, we could go through and make those changes. Okay, so we do want an MLA 6th edition. And then we'll insert our citation, and we want to add a new source, and the dialog box here, we want to specify that it is a journal article. So if you click on the drop down arrow, choose journal article, and then I'm getting the information for this particular source on page 197. It's step 1F, and so the author for this is Gabe Jefferson. And then we're going to go down to the title of the article is Securing Laptops and Mobile Devices. And the journal name is Future Computing Technologies. The year they want us to put in 212, and the pages are 8 to 10. Okay, and then we can click OK out of that. That puts in our citation, and then we put a period after that. All right, and then the second citation is actually at the end of the second paragraph. So I'm going to go ahead and type that in again, pausing the demo. Again, you can see that I have keyed in the next paragraph, and at the end of that paragraph we're ready for the next source, which is Lopez. And again, I've spaced after that word, and we're going to go back up to the Insert Citation option. Again, we're adding new source. This time it's a book, so the type of source will be book. The author of that will be Rafael Lopez. Title is Technology World. The year is 2012. The city is Chicago, and the publisher is Great Lakes Publishing House. And again, we'll click OK, and we want to put a period after, and then press Enter, Tab, and we'll put in that third paragraph again. I'm going to stop the demo here. And again, you can see typed in the third paragraph, and this time they're stopping short of the last sentence there and inserting another citation. But it's the same steps here. Insert citation, new source. This time it's a journal article. The author is whatever, can't say the name, Nakamura, maybe. Computer Security is the title. Journal name is Current Technology Times, 2011, 20 to 28, Volume 6. Now, Volume 6 is not listed there, but to get that extra field, we can choose this Show All Bibliography option, and that'll bring up the volume. We're going to put in Volume 6 at that point. Okay, now click OK, and that's the end of that sentence, but we still have one more sentence for the end of the paragraph, so I'll go ahead and type that in. then we can end that paragraph. Okay. Next, they want us to add another paragraph. We're going to insert an existing source. We've already put in a source by the name of Gabe Jefferson. We're going to use it again in the next paragraph. So I'm going to start another paragraph. I'll go ahead and type this in, and then we'll stop. It's right after the first sentence here. So thankful for spell check. Okay, now we're ready to put in an existing source, one that we've already used. Okay, so to do that, we're going to go back to the Insert Citation. Notice it lists out all of the sources that we've already created. We're going to use Jefferson again, so all we have to do on this one, rather than adding new source, is to just choose the existing one, Gabe Jefferson. And that places that there. You can go on with the rest of the sentence. And I'll go ahead and pause this so you don't have to watch me. After you've created your report and maybe you're still in the process of editing, you may find that there are times when you'll need to edit an existing source or maybe even delete a source from your document. You decide you don't want to use it anymore, maybe you take out an entire paragraph. But in any event, you can edit your citations, and to do that it's through the Manage or the Source Manager. And in Project 6D, we're going to actually edit a source. We've got an incorrect author name for Gabe Jefferson. So to edit that source, one way to do it is to go back to the Citations group on the References tab and choose Manage Sources. And that'll bring up the Manage or the Source Manager dialog box. Now the master list in here are all the sources that have been inputted by whoever's using this computer. It keeps a master list. The current list are those sources that are used in the current document. So you can see the 3 that we've added here. Now if we want to edit one of these, if we'll click on it's Jefferson Gabe that we want to edit. So we'll click on that on the right, choose Edit, and then we're going to change the name. It's quite a ways off actually. We'll put in Jackson here. Let's remove it all. It'll adjust it for us as far as first and last name. Gabriel Jackson. And we can click OK. It'll ask if you want to update both lists. Yes, we do. That'll update both the master list and the current list. And then in addition, if you wanted to delete a source, this is a little bit different. I'm going to go ahead and close out of this. If you decide you're not going to use a paragraph or text that's associated with a specific source, you can also delete that within your document. And we're going to delete the source that's in our 4th paragraph. So we'll come back up here. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is our 4th paragraph. And we're going to take out Lopez. So to remove that, essentially we're going to delete the last sentence in this particular paragraph. So I'm going to delete this out, including the source. That removes it. And then we're going to go back into the Source Manager by clicking on Manage Sources. And you'll notice that the current list still has it in there, but it doesn't have a check mark in it. So that's an indicator that it's not being used in this particular document. And if you wanted to further delete it, you could go ahead and select it and choose the Delete button, and that does remove it from the current list. Okay, we're going to go ahead and close out of this. Then they also want to show you that you can insert a new source without adding it into a paragraph. So for example, if you know that you're going to be using a source within your document but you haven't actually written the paragraph about that source yet, certainly okay, you can go ahead and get the information into your Source Manager and then use it when you come to it in the paragraph within your document. So to do that, we're going to go back to the Source Manager. Notice this New button. Looks very similar to what we saw earlier when we were adding a new source within a paragraph that we were typing. The new source is actually a book. The author of that, I'm getting the information from the bottom of page 201. So Georgia Maraldi. The title, Evolving Technology. Okay, and then we can go ahead and click OK out of this. That adds it to the current list even though it's not being used yet because it doesn't have a check mark, and then we can close out of that. Alright, then we're going to go to the very end of the document. We're going to add an additional sentence at the end here, so I'm going to space after, and this sentence that we're getting ready to add is actually the sentence where we're going to use the source that we just added. So I'm going to go ahead and pause and type in the information that you see. And this again is at the top of page 202 in letter F. Okay, and then once you get that quote entered in, then we need to cite that. And we've already got the information in. We just need to go back to the source. Well, actually, we don't even have to go to the source manager. If you go to the insert citation, it'll be listed there in your sources, Georgia Maraldi, and that adds that in-text citation. Okay. All right, now it also states in number 4, it says since we inserted a direct quote from this individual, we need to include a page number of the book where we found the quote. So we can insert the page number by going back through the citations. One way to do this is to click on the citation, then I'm going to click on the citation options drop-down list and edit citation. And the pages is going to be 19. And we'll click OK out of that. It automatically adds the correct format for adding the page number in with the in-text citation. After getting all the in-text citations within your document, and really if you need to add more later, obviously it's not a big deal because after you insert these, you are supposed to go ahead and add a works cited page or bibliography page. And a works cited page is what's used if you've used the MLA style, and then a bibliography is what they call it when you've used the APA style for your document. But in any event, a works cited page or bibliography, it's simply an alphabetical list of the books, the journal articles, any of the sources that you used or referenced in your document. So, and then it gives just a real quick look for the person that's using or reviewing the document. They can see all the sources that were used in that report or research paper. So for what we have right now, this mobile security document, we use the MLA style. If you'll recall, the MLA 6th edition. So we need to add a works cited page at the bottom. So I'm going to press Control-N to get to the very end of the document. And I just noticed here I did not put a period after this. That should have a period at the end after my in-text citation. So I'm at the end of the document. The works cited page, the bibliography page, actually appears on a new page at the end of the document. So not only am I going to the end of the document, but I'm also going to add a new page. So I'm going to press Control-Enter. And then Word has a feature that will actually generate your bibliography, or in this case the works cited page. And to do that, we're going to go back to the Reference tab, Citations and Bibliography, the Bibliography button, and then it's got built-in bibliography or works cited, which we need the works cited. What that does then is it generates on the last page here a works cited title, and then it lists all the sources in alphabetical order according to their last name. So how easy is that? That's great. Okay, now we're going to come back and modify this a little bit. Like the title needs to be centered, and if you had more than one line, if it wrapped to the next line, each one of these items should have a hanging indent placed on it, and so we'll come back and modify that a little bit later in a later project. But before we do that, we're going to create a new source and a citation to our document. And they want this new source to appear at the end of the last sentence in the first paragraph. So I'm going to press Control-Home, last sentence in the first paragraph. I'm going to space after my word, leave that period in there, and then we'll need that in just a second. But we're going to add a new source again by going into the Reference tab, Citations and Bibliography, and then we're going to the Insert Citation button and Add New Source. Now this new source is actually going to be a website. So we'll choose that if I can find it. The author is Che Chuang. Name of web page, Securing and Managing Mobile Devices. The year is 2012. The month is April 2010. The day is 20th. And then the year accessed, they want us to put in the current year, which this is 2011. The current month that I'm accessing it in is 11, and the day that I've accessed it is the 1st. And then the URL for that is www.emcp.net and then publishing. Alright, so that's our new source based on the website Securing and Managing Mobile Devices. Alright, we'll click OK out of that. That will insert the citation, and it puts the period after it, which is what we want. Now, since we've added that after we created the Works Cited page, we can update. If you click somewhere inside the Works Cited area, there's an option here, Update Citations and Bibliography. If you just click on the button there that has the red exclamation point, that automatically adds the new source and puts it in alphabetical order. And it looks like it automatically indented that, but look, we're going to go through those steps just for a minute here. They want us to change the font so that it matches the rest. Remember, the rest of the document was Cambria. So in the Works Cited area, that also needs to be Cambria. And the font size is going to be 12. Line spacing needs to be 2. The Works Cited area needs to be center aligned, and I mentioned that previously. And then this hanging indent's already set. Now they do suggest that you do that. They simply want you to select just the cited areas, and then Control T is supposed to indent that, but we don't want an additional 5. So that's already set. But I have seen it before where they generate Works Cited pages and it's all aligned at the left. So if that happens, you will need to go through, select all your entries, and then press Control T, and that'll give you a hanging indent, or you can grab your indent markers on your ruler and allow that to have a hanging indent as well. And then finally in Project 6H, they want us to change the style from MLA, and actually I'm going to go to the very top of the document to do this. They want us to change it from MLA 6th to APA style, and they want the APA 5th edition. So I'll use that. Now when you change that, then if you'll scroll down to the bottom, that really needs to be changed to bibliography. And you would have to manually do that. You may need to take that out, take out the Works Cited page, insert it again as a bibliography page, because APA and MLA have different ways of citing their sources at the end of the document. So they don't necessarily say to do that at the end, but just keep that in mind for future reference. And that does complete Chapter 5. A lot of unique little features throughout that chapter, so make sure that you review the chapter summary. The concepts check is on page 208, and be a great time to go through the assessments if you haven't been doing those. That begin on page 209 through 213. Those will give you a little taste of all the features that we've used within the chapter. And as always, if you have questions, feel free to email me or call me.